Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how sevagoth works, how each of his abilities interact with each other, and three of his builds. After every build I'm going to have a show-off of that build, which will be in mod, steel path, 20 minutes each. Which is probably why the video is taking so long.
Well, hello
Uh,
there.
Now off to part 1. Part 1, his passive. Uh, his passive is his tombstone. Whenever you die, you turn into your shadow and you get to revive yourself. I'm gonna show it right here. You need to kill 5 enemies. At the bottom right, you will when I die, you will see a timer that has 5 enemies I need to kill, and when I kill them, I revive myself. I also gain invulnerability whenever I go from shadow and whenever I come out of shadow. It's really short, so it's not really completely reliable, but it does help. If you die in shadow, you die completely, and you will need to revive yourself either from uh, just by affinity or by allies. You can't use last grasp, which is a pretty big debuff if you're at low levels. Uh, but it's a pretty good trade-off, I would say. If you can find 5 enemies, then you can definitely just revive yourself instantly, very fast like this. Additionally, every mod that you have on the shadow in the exalted menu, right here, will also apply to your uh, shadow form whenever you die. So do put on more health and adaptation if you want to survive. And the rolling guard helps at really high levels. Uh, Range increases the range where you can attack enemies, so it does help. Can Aegis is really good for emergency survivability. Apart from that, there isn't really a lot of things that you could put on. Uh, there are also bugs related to the passive. If you have high enough ping, you can occasionally do a moonwalk where you can't consume enemies and revive yourself. So you're just stuck for 20 seconds and if somebody revives you, it's really annoying. But it only happens when you have really high ping. So it's not too much of a problem. Like, don't really worry about it, but it does happen. Part 2. His first ability, Rip. Rip sends out a shadow that when it dawns over enemies, it applies a debuff of 50% damage increase, like this. Whenever you see the waves over the enemies, it means they have the debuff and they take more damage. If you have the augment, then it will also increase critical chance, which is nice. The augment is called Shadow Haze. It's right here. Uh, the ability itself also has a follows your crosshair. I'm gonna show you very quick, like this. It has a nice amount of range. As you can see, it applies to a lot of enemies right here, almost all of them. It If you have a lot of duration, you can just cast it once every 30 seconds, and then just have all of the enemy be debuffed. And it also applies a low amount of damage that can kill low level enemies, but really low level enemies and only trash enemies, so it's not reliable. You shouldn't worry about it. The real reason you care about the ability is because of its augment, Shadow Haze. It increases critical chance by 50%, which is a flat amount, not modded. And whenever an enemy dies, it spreads out even more shadows, up to 3 extra shadows. And I'm gonna show this real quick. As you can see, it sended out the shadow. This is the shadow. It moves towards more enemies, and sometimes it will also target dead bodies, uh, which does kind of nerf it, but it's fine. Uh, But what I meant when I said it's additive, it's the critical chance bonus is flat. It means that currently it gives 141% buff. It means that if I have a weapon that has 0% critical chance, it will increase the critical chance of up to 141. If I have a weapon that has 10% critical chance, it would boost it up to 151. If I have a weapon that has 100% critical chance, it would boost it to 241. The only problem with it is that it doesn't work with any explosive weapon. So Zar doesn't work, and the glaive doesn't work. I'm gonna show you real quick. My current build does yellow crits mostly. Then with the buff, still yellow crits. But if I do a direct hit, which isn't an explosion, like this, it will do orange crits. And even red crits occasionally. But not on the explosions. I'm also gonna show the glaive. The glaive is also pretty important to show. The explosion does orange crits out of the time. With the buff, still orange crits. No red crits, no nothing. It does do red crits if I do direct hit, by it's just sending out the glaive like this. But if I do this, then it does it's supposed to do red crits, here we go. But not if I explode the glaive like this. The normal buff that it already gives, like the damage vulnerability, does work, but the critical chance doesn't. It means you would want either projectile or hit scan weapons, no explosive weapons. Part 3. So, Sevagoth's second ability. What it does is make a ray of effect which places a curse on enemies that deals 2 damage per second. Starting at about 250. Here you can see the rank 0 one. At rank 0 does 100, but at full rank does 250. With the rank I have, it's 670, about something like that. The true damage is very low and irrelevant, and also, as you can see, it gets weaker the farther you are from the middle. So it's just a pretty bad damaging ability. When you use it alone, the good part comes when you use Rip. Any enemy that has Sow and Rip applied on them at the same time will explode in a 4-meter radius, dealing 25% of their health as blast damage. The damage includes to themselves. It also deals the damage to themselves, so it's pretty good at killing singular enemies too. The explosion is a 4-meter radius, and you can't increase it with range. So getting too much range isn't gonna be super useful. It's just gonna increase the range of how far Sow applies, not how far the explosion will be. If I summon one enemy, a singular enemy, right here, I'm gonna show you something. As you can see, I played Sow, and then Rip, and dealt 25% of its health as blast damage. If I do it again, it is 25%. As you see, it done more than 25% of its health, because the explosion, when it spawns, it deals 25% of its health, but Rip, the damage increasing debuff, doesn't apply by the time it explodes. So, it doesn't have an increased damage, but if you apply Rip twice, it does have an increased amount of damage. So you do want to cast it twice whenever you cast it. You don't want to cast it just once. I'm going to show you really quick. It's much better. Also, if you have viral, it can help a lot. I'm just gonna put epitaph real quick. Wait, I'm gonna kill enemy. Bam, insta-kill. That's because viral at full stacks quadruples your damage. So that means you deal 100% of the enemy's health as blast damage. Because it's blast damage, you do want to armor strip. Well, I mean, you do want to armor strip at higher levels. At lower levels, it's still fine. But at lower levels, you would definitely want to armor strip them, so the blast damage could actually kill them. What did you say? This does work on demolists, but it's not very reliable because of the nullifier and the damage reduction. Damage reduction, demolists have about 90% damage reduction, so you know, not ideal for this build. One thing about it, one thing that is very annoying, and people would usually, it's the main reason you build for negative duration on most builds. If you cast this on one group, you can't recast it on another group. You have to wait for the whole duration, which is why people usually go for negative duration when they make a build around so. Uh, you have to kill all of the enemies that are affected by the group before, and only then you can reapply the buff. Additionally, each enemy that dies from so gives 5% to the death well meter. But if you're not using the fourth ability, then it's not irrelevant. Okay, next part, Gloom. Part 4, Gloom, his third ability. Gloom, what he does is slow enemies by 35% at base, up to 95% with more strength. It also life steals 5% of health. It doesn't show it here because that's rank 0, but at normal rank that's what it's supposed to do. It also drains more energy the more enemies you have, starting at 0.575 with one enemy and 0 and then 7.5 with max enemies, which is 10. As you can see, it's a really good survivability ability because barely anything kills me. So little things actually damage me right now. My shields can just recharge freely. If I have a tanking build, this is a really good way to recharge my health because of the lifesteal. The energy drain seems high, but you're supposed to be killing the enemies anyway. So you aren't supposed to have 10 enemies in your group. It also charges your meter, but really slowly, so it's very unreliable. It charges it 0.1% per enemy per second, meaning that whenever an enemy is in the circle, it gives you 0.1% per second, which the maximum amount that you can have is 1% per second, meaning it will take 100 seconds to actually reach the maximum amount. It's not very reliable. Like, this is the worst way to get the full meter. Because it's drain ability, lots of things that regen energy don't work, like energy siphon doesn't work, dreamer's bond doesn't work, the arcane called primary exhilarate, this one, which regenerates energy on impact, doesn't work because it's energy per second. Xenoric doesn't work. Energy Nexus doesn't work. And last thing that doesn't work, I think, is let me check. I don't remember. I think. Yep. Energy bands don't work. So you do have to, have some sort of other energy regen ability, like maybe Nourish or Citrin's first ability. You can put it on the helmets. You can also have Energize works, Arcane Dissipate, whatever you have. Because otherwise, you might run out of energy. The range increase, the range itself depends on range, like most abilities, but the range increase per second depends on duration. So having low duration just means you will have to wait more for the max duration to arrive, which is mildly annoying, but it's fine. You can handle it. Part 5, Exalted Shadow, his fourth ability. Exalted Shadow uses the meter. When the meter is full, either from enemies dying from Soul Drip, like this, or with Gloom being affected. If enemies are in Gloom, they charge the meter. You will then have higher full meter. Currently, I don't have Shadow on this build, so I'm gonna just real quick change it. If you just nuke enemies like with Soul and Drip and then charge them, then you will have higher full meter. Like this. Once more, 1 second. Apparently I didn't fill it far enough. There is a simulacrum bug where the meter just doesn't show occasionally. As you can see here, I can't see my meter for whatever reason. Which is mildly annoying, but it's fine. His shadow has 3 abilities. Embrace, Consume, Death's Harvest, and the last one is Reunite, which basically just undoes the shadow, so it doesn't really count. Embrace pulls in near enemies. It doesn't pull these enemies because they're immune to crowd control effects. But if I switch really quick to a different enemy type, like this, I can use my first ability to gather them up like this. Then there's just a big spaghetti meal. Consume goes through one enemy. It life steals this one life steal from this one enemy, but it doesn't kill it. So it deals a small amount of radiation damage, but it's a really small amount. It's a pretty bad ability as far as abilities go. So I don't really use it as much. I only use it in emergencies. It does help to get far away from enemies like this, but other than that, it's not really reliable. And the third ability is his best ability, because it applies an enemy debuff, like Rip. It's a final enemy multiplier, a final damage multiplier. So you can just deal a massive amount more damage with barely any cost. It's a pretty easy first ability. You just cast it, then of the enemies nearby just take more damage. Simple as that. And if you run out of the meter, you just like I did right now, you just come back to the normal form. His claws are also pretty interesting. Unlike other exalted weapons, they are multiplicative with strength. Like exalted blade from Excalibur is additive with strength, meaning every point of strength counts as a point of serration type damage increase. But with Sevagoth, it's multiplicative, which is nice. Also, combo increases the final damage multiplier. So if I have 12 times combo, I will do 4 times damage. Additionally, it procs slash and impact very often in its combo. I'm gonna show how much real quick. This procs impact twice, slash twice, and knocks down, and one forced knockdown. Then this procs impact once. This procs 4 impacts, 2 slashes. Uh, as you can see, this is quite a lot of stuff. A heavy attack also does slash twice, which is really nice. The area attack does impact. A lot of slash and impact multipliers. It also has one follow through like any other exalted weapon, meaning reach is infinite is much better than on any other weapon. You would also want combo count chance increase because more combo, more damage. And that's it. It also has the claws also have very good stats. 38% critical chance, 2.6 critical multiplier, and 24% critical chance are all really good. Alongside large slash weighting and really good heavy attack damage. Pretty good weapon, like in general. And just having one Tenokai mod, like of any type, like anyone you want. Just so you can occasionally proc a heavy attack and deal millions of damage. That force proc slash. Just something you should do. Additionally, Sevagoth Shadow counts as whenever you spawn it, it counts as a brand new respawn. So you get all of your initial energy back, meaning if you have preparation, you get full energy. And you lose all of your stacks whenever you despawn. So blessing undoes itself and augmented undoes itself. So avoid using them unless you don't have any better arcane. Also, the stats it has higher armor than most warframes. So building for tanking isn't a terrible idea. Uh, it has lower shields than usual, so shield gating using catalyzing shields is also a pretty good idea. Not a bad idea at all. I don't suggest doing that because by the time you reach the part of a mission where you can't health tank anymore, your damage won't be good enough to kill them fast enough, and so you wouldn't really want to go that high with the shadow. Uh, one last thing, whenever you go into operator when you're in your shadow, like this, if you go to operator, it undoes the shadow, meaning you can't use generic and you can't benefit from poise, which on Nairo. You can't benefit from the extra cast. You can't really benefit from the extra cast speed on Madurai. You're pretty limited in your options, sadly. That's about it for the abilities. Now I'm gonna go over the builds. This is my Sevagoth crit build. I'm gonna go mod by mod to explain everything. But before everything, obviously, Helminths. My Helminths is Pillage. It's a wide range armor strip that also retrieves all of the shields. Almost, it's almost guaranteed to bring me all of the shields back. And I have also parameter direction, which gives me a long shield gate. The reason you would want a long shield gate and a radial armor strip is because it's a weapon buffing build. You don't want to spend your time casting an ability to armor strip and shield gate. You would want to armor strip or every turn one nearby and have 2 seconds of shield gate. You don't want to just to cast an ability before you attack every time. Corrosive projection makes it so it's easier to armor strip with pillage. I don't have enough strength to fully armor strip without a corrosive projection. I do need to get all of the stacks from Mortal Augmented and 1 stack from Power Ramp. Prime Footed, it's Prime Footed. Most of the time that I die is because I was knocked down. So Prime Footed just prevents most of my deaths. Redirection, I already explained more. It gives me a higher shield gate. Transient Fortitude, negative duration. is barely noticeable. Nobody cares about it, so I didn't give like yeah. So it's not a massive downside. And positive strength meaning gives me both more damage, more critical chance, and more armor strip. So it's good. Shadow haze, that's mandatory. That's how you buff the weapons. Um, Fleeting expertise, you do want some efficiency. So this is basically a free spot for any efficiency mod you have. Primed continuity is to make it so I don't have too little uh, duration. I don't want to have to. I do want to be able to armor strip for a wider range, and my gloom not to consume too much energy, and my rape to apply for a decent amount of duration. But if you want, you can do this and move fitting expertise to streamline instead. Where is it? This one. And then you will have 70. You have a bit more duration, but you have it more drain on your gloom because before it was 0.4 per second at with one enemy. Now it's 0.7. You also have less efficiency, so we will have to worry more about your energy. This is good for survival. This build is good for survival, but it doesn't work in disruption of water skate, which is why I prefer uh, this build. Uh, One second. What? This build, yeah. Equilibrium, that's mandatory, absolutely. Uh, the reason equilibrium is really good is because health orbs are worth 50. So when they're transferred into energy, it's worth 55 energy, not just 25 energy like an energy orb. It makes it much more reliable. And I also have the companion that with since deconstruct, so I have even more health orbs. I have way too much energy. Uh, of course, it's just enough for this build. Uh, if you don't have equilibrium, you're just gonna die all the time because you can't shield gate. Primed flow makes sure you have less opportunity to run out of energy. It's kinda nice. Normal flow also works, but primed flow is better. Umbral intensify, more strength, obviously. Uh, Archon intensify doesn't work with gloom. Like I tried, but healing yourself with gloom doesn't count as an ability heal, so it doesn't give you the plus 30%. Uh, Arcanes, more augmented, obviously more strength, up to 60% more strength. And Arcane Power Ramp, up to 36% more strength. So overall, I get plus 96% strength from these two Arcanes to add to the strength. Uh, Power Ramp is really easy to maintain with this build because whenever you enter a new group, you press Rip, then press Pillage, or maybe press Sow. You almost never cast the same ability twice. There is no reason to actually do that. And the way Pillage, the animation of Pillage and Rip works, makes it so if you cast Rip and then Pillage, it's extremely fast. You barely have to worry about the animation link, which is nice. Um, Also, Archon Shards. I have 4 Archon Shards for strength, so I have plus 60. If you don't have this amount of Archon Shards, you won't be able to fully armor strip with this build. So you will need precision intensify, so you can fully armor strip very easily. But I do have the Archon Shards, so I'm gonna use Umbral. Uh, of course, you don't need precision intensify if you do the previous suggestion of Ogre Secrets. But then you can't do disruption and uh, void cascade. That's the problem. Uh, Build for my Diriga. Sacrifice to save myself, but it's not mandatory if you're good enough. Guardian. Whenever you run out of shields, it gives you all of your shields back. which makes it so you should get again. By the way, the order of items is of mods is pretty important here. You want sacrifice to be on top, because otherwise it won't regen you. It takes priority on the of these mods that have the upper dash polarity have priority. So if you want to, the things that are here have more max priority. So you want sacrifice, arc calls, guardian, uh, calculated shot is least. I would say. Primate region it doesn't take priority at all. It's always the same priority, so it doesn't matter. And vacuum also doesn't take priority at all. So you should put it last. There is no reason not to. Duplex bond makes it so it targets more enemies with synth deconstruct. That's the only reason you use it. And calculated shot also makes it so duplex bond works. Momentous bond does give you one more element, which is nice for condition overload. But the main reason you use it is because it reduces the companion recovery by 18 seconds whenever you kill an Eximus. That's the main reason. Hellstorm build, it's a very simple build. Viral, hit, radiation, fire rate, so it won't be too slow. Multi shots, that's nice, it's always nice. And projectile speed, very simple. Projectile speed so it will reach enemies, otherwise it's very slow. And we can also show the bits on the weapons. It's very simple. The reason I use the Basmu is because the alternate fire has a nice amount of critical damage. It has 4.8, which is nice. It goes up to 10.6, really nice. Of course, it's viral electric. It's viral heat. Well, it's viral in whatever element the weapon has. The weapon has electric on the main fire, heat on the explosion of the main fire, and electric on the alternate fire, which is a bit weird. But it's fine. Of course, reload speed is pretty important. You don't want to spend all your time reloading. Shred for fire rate. Vital sense for the critical damage, otherwise you won't deal enough time. There is no reason to use the buff, Furies, it's the Furies, you know how the Furies works. I use this build or this build. This is gas electric, this is viral heat. And Hesper. I really like the Hesper with the crit build. Because normally this is a mediocre weapon. But with the crit build, it becomes a really, really good acolyte killer weapon. Because the heavy attack does 3 attacks at once. Like this. I'm gonna show this really quick. Pretty good, I would say. He also wants. I have Madurive because I usually do it with Vortex heads with this build, but any focus school is good. Except for maybe Zenoric, because you have Gloom at all times, so there is no reason to use Wellspring. There you can use Wellspring or Energy Pulse. But otherwise, everything is good. I also have this build for rolling guard. Basically, the rolling guard is the only important mod here. But this build is for tanking if you want that. Claws you can't use them, so they are irrelevant. That's it. That's the build. Okay, this is the build, the crit build show off. I'm gonna show off the critical buff build and how well it can do in higher levels. I'm gonna go for 20 minutes. Just tournament, you know, not really deep. But it will be proof that this does work.
These foes deserve your respect. Honor them with quick deaths, and I with your victory.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
Okay. Go.
Life support incoming. I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it.
If you wanted to use the nuke core, you can also use that because the nuke core also has massive critical damage.
Life support on the way.
Oh, by the way, another tip for power ramp. At the bottom right, you can see what ability you used last, so you don't have to worry. So if you don't remember it, then you can just look at it.
I've delivered another life support capsule.
Yeah, here's the acolyte. Almost one shot. Well, it would have been 3 shots anyway, because it's 3 hits, but still good. I find it really weird that Smells can headshot, because like sometimes I just do 50 million health 50 million damage to health, and it's really ridiculous. It only happens when I do headshots with the heavy attack.
The operative has just made their first discovery. Keep up the good work. When you are ready, go to extraction.
Is Val here? Where is he? Oh, he is dead. Let's search for treasure. I want to see if there is any. Nope. Oh, another reason why pillage is good, I forgot to say. It strips statuses. It removes all the statuses from you. So you don't have to worry about this stupid hit statuses and magnets. Maybe you can slash. No? Nobody likes slash either. Here we go. Oops, life support.
Life support has been replenished. The longer you fight, the
Ah
more
ja.
successful you
Ah ja, ja, ja. Hop.
extraction is your best option. Life support activated.
Oh, oops.
Additional life support has arrived.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, that's the problem with weapon popping builds. You can't, like, the speed of your killing is the speed of your weapons. You can't do it faster than how your opponent can do it.
I'll share in this bounty.
Okay,
As long
done.
as you can.
They fought well. Good deaths all.
Nice. I have so much Argon crystals, god damn. I don't need I don't need more than like one. Why do I get 20 of them? How much Argon crystals do I have? 55. Nice. This is the exalted shadow build that I have. I'm gonna go mod by mod and explain what everything does. Before everything, Helminth, Fractured Blast. It makes it so enemies drop energy and health whenever they die. And with this build I get up to 40 something percent for an energy drop, which is pretty good, and also in health orb drop. If you have enough room for equilibrium, that would be great. Because you get split equilibrium and you have way more energy. Like way more energy. In fact, I should probably maybe in the future I would place it, but I don't. Until now it works pretty well for me, so I don't need it. Urap, growing power, more power strength, which you would want because, as I said before, it's multiplicative. Power drift. The reason it's not fully ranked up is simply because I have a bad forma spot in there. That's it. I would have had it fully leveled up otherwise. Adaptation for tanking. Transient Fortitude gives me negative duration and strength, which are both good for this build. Ugur's Secrets. More strength, you know, Primate Flow. You can replace it with normal flow, that's perfectly fine, the difference is not major. Blind Rage, more strength, you know, the more the merrier. Fleeting Expertise 2 ranks down, simply to make it so Sow and Rip have some duration to their, you know, they have some duration to their proc, so don't have to spam it very fast. Streamline, more efficiency, and Abron Intensify, more strength, obviously. More Documented, even more strength, and Arcane Blessing. Because I get so much energy orbs, it's gonna be fully ranked up very fast. It's really useful for the tanking build. The reason I'm tanking is because I'm not like there is no really high, really big reason to go extremely high level with Shadow. The damage of the claws is good, but it's not good enough, and it's very hard to shield get with the Shadow. So you better just be tanking. Build for the Torrid, I don't need to explain it, it's the Torrid. Grimoire, more strength. It's not necessary. You can replace. You can not even have a secondary at all, or even have an epitaph. That would also be good. The reason I just have that is because occasionally I want more strength. That's it. It's not very complicated. Glaive Prime, that's the build. I don't need to explain it. Also, it's a build for the glaive. Everybody knows how it works. Then Unairo, it gives me more. Where is it? More armor. 200 armor, which isn't a lot, but it's more than double. It's more than doubles my arcane armor, so it's good. It's good for my main sevagoth. My shadow doesn't need it at all. Also, shadow build. Here we go. No helmets because you can't. Still charge more melee damage. It's not necessary, but you can. You can replace it with whatever you want. I think. Preparation, energy spawn on. Because every time you spawn the shadow, it comes with a brand new respawn. It's pretty good. Just make sure you already have max energy, basically. Adaptation for tanking. Continuity for more duration is not necessary. Because the abilities, like, they do use duration. You do want duration. You do want some duration. But, you know, all it does is makes it so the enemies that are, when you group them, they stay grouped for more. And the enemies that are applied the Death's Harvest debuff have the debuff applied for longer. That's it. Consume is useless on this build completely. Maybe like if you want to move around faster, it is good, but that's it. Umbral Intensify, Umbral Vitality, and Umbral Fiber for maximum tanking. I have 2 Umbral Formers in here, but you only need 1. If you put a double dash polarity former here, and then get 2 ranks lower on adaptation, like this, then you can fit Umbral Fiber without another former. But because of how adaptation works, it doesn't really matter if you have 2 ranks down. The difference is very minor, like extremely minor. You know, doesn't really matter. You can also have preparation 2 ranks down, because preparation, you already have energy that's when you additional energy when you start. So having the difference between max rank preparation and the 2 ranks down preparation is literally nothing. You physically won't notice it. Then transient fortitude, more strength because of the Death's Harvest. Range, not necessary, but it's good for Embrace. It's not necessary for Death's Harvest because you use the Embrace to gather up the enemies and then do the Death's Harvest. So it's only good for one ability. Primed Flow is just to make sure when you spawn you start with even more energy, but you can use normal flow as well, it's just as good. Arcane Fiber, I already explained, more armor is better. Aegis. Aegis is one of my favorite arcanes. Whenever you get damaged, you have a pretty low chance of plus 30% of shield recharge for 12 seconds. That doesn't sound very impressive until you realize that the shield recharge is always active whenever the buff is active. And it procs shield getting every time. Meaning that your shields literally cannot be removed. They will always be there in that 12 seconds duration. Meaning you're invulnerable if there is no toxin damage in the area. Like completely invulnerable. Nothing can kill you at all. Well, I mean, except for true damage and toxin damage, but that's it. Mold Reconstruct, whenever you cast an ability, you gain 6 health per every energy you spend. So with this ability you would get like 400 health, and with this ability like you get 100 health, something like that. Which makes Consume completely useless, which is good because Consume is annoying to use. Because you have to target one enemy and then you have to hit him, which doesn't always happen, you can miss the enemy. And then you just get a nice amount of health back, that's it. It doesn't even do anything else, it just moves you forward. If you want, you can put something else in its spot. Let's see what else. Again, Strike is pretty good, more attack speed. What else? Nullifier and negative. You don't get any magnetic, that's nice. Grace, more health regen. Can't have too much health regen. Fury, more melee damage. Pretty nice. Arcane Guardian, more armor. I've got a lot more armor. Energize, not really useful because you don't need that much energy. Avenger increases the critical chance to make it so it's a flat critical chance increase, meaning that if you had 0% critical chance, it will go up to 45% critical chance. On this build I have 140 critical chance, so this will put it up to 185, something like that. It means I will won't crit most of the time. Arcane Barrier, not, oops, accidentally pressed it. Not too useful, it makes it so all of your shields regen, you have a very small chance to regen all of your shields, it's not that good. It's fine, but I prefer the other one, the one that gives me lots of health. That's pretty good. That's it for the shadow build. I'm gonna show you the close build. Ravenous Race, I physically can't replace it, so you know, here. Discipline's Merit gives me lots of Tenokai, but another good option is either where is it? Opportunity to reach, because then your window is much larger and you have larger range, which is pretty nice. What else? Dreamer's Opportunity, that's pretty nice, increases the critical damage and increases the window, pretty nice. Guardian's Derison, it makes it so it has some funny interactions with it. If you make it so if you hold your block, then the enemies are forced to face you. So it can make it so acolytes are just spinning around. If you spin around them, it's pretty funny. But it's not that useful except for that. It's also a good way to earn more combo because you do want to earn as much combo as possible. Parry, finishers. It's finishers. Mentor's Legacy, it means you don't have to put a forma in here. Which saves your spot, is really nice. You can also not have anything in here, which saves you another forma in another spot. That's it for extra spot. Quickening, more attack speed and combo count chance. That's always good, everybody loves that. Combo count chance is especially useful because the damage depends on your combo. So the faster you get the combo, the better it is. Primed Reach, more range. Because you have one follow through, it doesn't matter how many enemies you hit, it will still deal the same amount of damage. So range is really useful in this build. You can replace it with anything else that you want, though it's not necessary. Killing Blow might be better if you want to Tenokai even faster. Conditioned Overload, it's very good with my companion, Diriga. With Manifold Bond and Arc Coils, it applies a lot of statuses to enemies nearby. It's really nice. It also takes every single element from your weapon, meaning impact, puncture, hit, radiation, viral, all of it. Takes all of it. And then applies it to the enemies that are applied by Arc Coil, which is really nice. I also have Sacrifice to make sure I don't die. I die less often, and Guardian to make sure I regen my shields sometimes. That's it for all of the mandatory mods for Diriga, but I was getting off track. Gladiator Might, that's more critical damage, but it's also replaceable. Sacrificial Pressure, Sacrificial Steel, that's... You can use a normal forma here, a normal V polarity forma here, and then use Parameter Pressure Point. You will get less critical chance, but it's only 20%, as you can see. It's not game changing, you will live without a 20% critical chance. It will also give you more damage, more base damage if you use the primed version, because it's just higher version, you know. Primed Fever Strike, you want one elemental mode in here. It doesn't have to be Primed Fever Strike, it can be anything else, but Primed Fever Strike is the highest amount. It's just that it's another multiplier that you would want. It doesn't help with the slash procs. So if you are planning to do just slash proc, it's not gonna be useful. And then Organ Shatterer for more critical damage. I can't put Amalgam Organ Shatterer because you can put Amalgam mods on exalted weapon. But I would like to have the Amalgam mod, but it's fine. I don't need it. Uh, that's it for the build. I don't really have anything else to show. Maybe I should explain the Dirika a bit more. Since the construct makes it so it drops a lot of health orbs, it's not really useful on this build, but it's useful if you have equilibrium or what is it called, health conversion for more armor. It's a nice flat amount of armor. It's really nice. Arc coils, it makes it so attacks nearby enemies. It's really useful. Guardian, it's extremely useful because it makes it so. Well, it's not extremely useful on this build, but it's extremely useful on any other build. It boosts shields when it runs out, meaning uh, it basically just gives you the shield rating automatically. It's really nice. Regen mandatory, it makes it so it reduces the respawn timer by a lot, especially when you have sacrifice too. Duplex bond, it makes it so it spawns the clones, which attack even more enemies, meaning it gives you more sense the construct, and primes more enemies with the weapon. This is nice. That's about. You don't really need it. It's not mandatory, I say. Momentous Bond, it gives you another element, which is nice, but the main reason you would use it is to reduce your recovery time by 18 seconds. It's the fastest way to regen your respawn timer, at least with this build. You can also have another option is where is it? Aerial Bond. You just do an aerial attack. It's aerial slide attack. When you pull the enemies with Embrace, you just kill lots of enemies and then you regen the thing very fast. But I don't. It's not necessary. Momentous Bond is also good. Tenacious Bond doesn't really work with this build because you need headshots. That doesn't work. Calculated shot. It's what makes the clones attack, but if you don't use the clones, this is not necessary. You don't really need the Diriga to attack enemies because, you know, Arc Core is already a thing. And Vacuum, that's always necessary, everybody knows that. Hellstorm, Malignant Force and Malignant Force rounds and Termite rounds for viral heat. Rapid reload for viral heat radiation. This is fire rate, which is necessary for this weapon. Shred for extra fire rate. You can use the normal fire rate mode. It's also good. Terminal velocity means it moves faster, so we don't have to wait for the rockets to get to the enemies. And vigilante armament for multi-shot, which is good. And the passive, which gives you critical chance to your primary. That's it. That's it for the build. I think I've shown everything. By the way, because you don't have an armor strip, I mean you do have an armor strip, but not a reliable one. Because you don't really have an armor strip, you would want to double tap rape to make so more effective on armored enemies. But that's it for the build. Now to the show off. Okay, show off for sevagoth as exalted shadow build. This is my build for the normal sevagoth. The reason I go to slightly lower rank power drift is because I have a bad polarity. You know, it happens. And the reason I have lower rank fleeting SPCs is because I do want to have some
Otis went
duration.
mad for 3 milliseconds when he realized that each time
Torrid
he
is
cleans
Torrid,
something,
everybody knows the
he
Torrid.
makes something else dirty.
Grimoire, more strength,
There I
you
go
know,
again.
nice. And rolling speed, obviously. Glaive, this is the build, it's just for, you know, killing acolytes and generally killing. It's not mandatory, you can bring any melee possible. Like you don't need a melee at all. But this is an option that you can take. This is the build on the shadow. And this is the build on my melee. My Diriga has this build. And this is the build for the Hellstorm. "20 minutes mod, here we go.
underestimate them at your peril.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
Here we go. Nice one. Oops.
I delivered a life
Okay.
support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy him more time.
Oops. Not enough energy. Oops.
Another life support capsule is now available.
Once again. Climb this to Artemis. Shit. Oops. Luckily for me, I'm playing sevagoth. this is the problem with the health stacking builds. The problem with making a shield stacking build for Sevagoth Shadow is that you have to then cast abilities to keep yourself alive. But if you cast abilities, you can't attack. That's the issue with Sevagoth. When they make an augment for the 4th ability, I hope it's gonna be a survivability augment. God damn. He really needs it. Like his 4th ability really needs it. This is the rest thing. Oh. Hmm. Oh, another energy thing. I'm so glad I made Zoro shut up whenever he dies now. He used to not shut up, which is really annoying. He just dies right now. It's wonderful. People say this sevagoth is kind of like a stand, like from JoJo. But because of that, I started watching JoJo, and this is nothing like a stand. Like stands are much cooler than this. Mostly because like they're more, you know, you can use both at the same time. And like another difference, if the shadow dies, your normal sevagoth is still alive. And if your normal sevagoth dies, the shadow becomes alive. So not too related, I would say. Sevagoth Shadow also doesn't have any like cool gimmick on its own. It has good abilities, but good doesn't mean cool, you know? And the role of cool states that if something is cooler, then it's better. So it's, you know, it's worse. I'm kind of mumbling, but I don't know. Otherwise this would be completely empty. Just me moving around and not saying anything. Right? Oops. side. Okay. Well, no matter. Ah. Hmm. Alright, oops, I forgot to activate the mission. Yeah, And the mission exit.
Your will was greater. This is good.
Nice. Some 18 argon crystals that I'm not gonna use in time. Wonderful. Love them. Okay. Sevagoth exalted shadow show off done. This is the explanation to the nuke build. I'm gonna go over mod by mod and explain what I do. First of all, Helminth's Terrify. The reason I use Terrify is because it's instant. You don't have to wait for it like the odd pillage or any other thing. First mod, Respite, that's how I shield gates alongside catalyzing shields. That's how, let's say, short shield gates, which is good for this build because the cast ability is like every third of a second. Sure-footed, I like sure-footed. I noticed that most of my times that when I die is when I'm knocked down. So I do want to have you know, either sure-footed or handspring. Handspring is also pretty good, but sure-footed is better. Ugo Rich, even more energy even more shields per energy spent, and more range, so pretty good. Shadow Haze, if you want, you can replace it with anything else. You can replace it with. I have Archon shards which give me the ability to full armor strip, but if you don't have the 4 Tower Forged red Archon shards,
You need to put one more strength mod in here to be able to fully armor strip with one cast. I have Shadow Haze because I do want to sometimes be able to kill acolytes faster, but it is not mandatory at all. You can replace it. Primed Flow, energy. You know, it's energy. More energy in the bank. Transient Fortitude, the main benefit of it is negative duration, but strength is also nice. Equilibrium, that's absolutely mandatory. The energy economy is just not good enough without it. Fighting expertise, negative duration, and plus efficiency. The reason it's not full rank is because I do want to have like some duration, so the drain on gloom wouldn't be too high, and I wouldn't have to press so terrify and rip way too fast. I could have some time in between. I can even have 2 ranks down, but that's optional. And more range because it's a nuke build. You would want more range usually. Arcane edges, that's for survivability. You're basically invulnerable when it's active, so that's really good. But if you want, you can basically make it so this would be a tanking build. Replace this mod with a armor mod. Replace this with adaptation and replace this with blessing. Which would give you some tanking capabilities, but I prefer shielding, so I use this thing. You can also have uh, like any other mode that might like what was it? Nullifier to prevent magnetic if you're playing an mission with a lot of magnetic. Uh, Ice to prevent heat sparks because heat sparks are pretty bad and annoying. A steadfast bad, don't use that one. Don't use steadfast because when their ability is free to cast, it means you don't get a shield, so we can shield gate. Yeah, that's pretty bad. You don't want that. Avenger, I guess that's good for more damage if you want to use your weapons occasionally. But you know, Aegis is what I use. Energize is pretty nice, but not completely mandatory. I would say it's very nice, like very definitely. This definitely belongs in this build. It should be on this build, but you know, you can use it without it. You know, so if you don't have a full rank 1, 3 rank 3 is also good, which only requires 10 arcanes compared to the 21 of rank 5. So if you only have 10 energizers, then you can just use rank 3, it's fine. 100, it only gives you 100 energy compared to 150, but it's not that big of a difference in the long run. I also have the turret. The turret is emergency damage, Grimoire is emergency energy, using data invocation. But you can replace it with Epitaph. It also works. Glaive, that's more emergency damage, but Hesper works. Hesper works very well with Shadow Haze, so you can use that. What else you can use? You can use any weapon. Like Bastilok is pretty good with armor stripping, so if you want to just armor strip, that's an option. You can take any weapon to armor strip, but Bastilok just does it fastest. I used the glaive in this mission because with the glaive, it's a very good weapon. Madurai, here you can see power transfer gives you plus whenever you transfer from operator to warframe, it gives you 20 seconds of casting, 50% casting speed on your warframe, which is really good on this build. Shadow, this is my build for the Shadow. The only important thing is rolling guard, and that's it.
Safe and sound.
Well, Arcane Aegis is also pretty important, and barrier. But rolling guard is the most important one. Whenever you turn into your Shadow, you will just be able to roll and become invulnerable. It's pretty nice. Claws, you won't be able to use them, but it's the same build as before. My build is Diriga, since the construct is mandatory. Arc Calls is mandatory. Duplex Bond and Calculated Shots are mandatory. Vacuum mandatory. You know, pretty you know, pretty simple build. Sacrifice, nice, not mandatory. Guardian, not mandatory, but very, very nice. Regen helps a lot with make sure the Diriga isn't always on cooldown. Momentous Bond, pretty mandatory. This isn't like too complicated of a build. You do want some companion with Singe the Construct, just so you can get more health orbs. But you know, if you can handle without it, it's fine. Hellstorm. This is my build for the Hellstorm. I think I already explained it in my previous build, but you know, viral hit radiation for as much elements as possible, fire rate, multi-shot, projectile speed. Very simple. You know, not too complex. Very schmable build. I also have another Archon Shard for casting speed, but it's not mandatory. If you don't use the Archon Shard, then you would want to switch to Madorai every 20 seconds, which is pretty annoying. However, it's definitely doable. It's not impossible. Casting, you only need one Archon Shard for ability strength, as I said before. Instead of Shadow Haze, you would have another strength mode if you didn't have one Archon Shard. Now off to the show off. I will stay there for 20 minutes, like the two other ones. In solo mode.
Each enemy is more powerful than before. Only with true mastery of the Tenno arsenal will you succeed.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
Oops. Game freezing.
Good work. Extraction is available at any day.
Okay, first acolyte. Let's see. Yeah, not too bad. If I had the epitaph, it might have been better. But then I wouldn't have emergency energy. So, you know. Oh, here we go, Vol. Vol is actually a pain in the ass with this build because he damages you with his mind, and it cannot be shielding against it. It's very annoying because it attacks you very quickly. Yeah, never mind. It's fine. Oops. He's broke. Yeah. Damn, I should have really brought the epitaph. The grimoire is not necessary, to be honest. I don't know what I was thinking. Still, it doesn't really matter, it just proves that you don't really need priming. Priming would be nice though. Oh, oh, here we go. Now I need energy. Took a bit. Let's see if there is any collectible nearby. There may be a treasure nearby. Who knows? There wasn't, but there could have been. Acolyte, once again. Nice. You know, this build would probably not work on console. Because frame rate is based on FPS, and FPS on console is pretty low. I mean, of course, it depends on which console, but like Switch, that build would be this build would be terrible. It just not really work. Or maybe like PS5 or Xbox Series X, it would work. Or like Switch Pro whenever that comes out. If it's real. No, the Switch Pro is real, no. Hmm. Yeah, I needed energy. Energy. Ah.
Another life support capsule is now available.
Oh, no energy. Yeah, I forgot that this one can take your ability to go. Oops, my mistake.
Consider extraction.
Oops.
Life support activated.
Uh-oh. Yeah, another case of emergency energy. Yeah.
Additional life support has arrived.
Oh, again, 20 minutes, I forgot. I forgot to access it 20 minutes. Oops, my mistake. And done.
Critical life support levels.
You
Extraction
exist to
is the
strike.
best option.
You strike to win. The lesson ends.
I think this is the final build, yeah.